to the last game of the day. It is Game 3 of the Void versus Demacia. The score is tied 1-1, each team winning one game. So yeah, let's see how things go in this game. The first game was a very close game. The Void came out ahead in the early game, but mid-game, Demacia and the Void were going back and forth a bit. Demacia ultimately got ahead in late game, were able to come out ahead. Game 2, the Void got the lead early and just held on to it, kept playing it much better than they did in Game 1, and just snowballed ahead with their early lead. So yeah, we'll see how Game 3 goes. This is going to decide who wins for the day. And let's see. So it looks like the Void has spelled tack. They got thumbtacks or something. Demacia bans out MNC. Might not capture. I'm not sure what MNC stands for. Demacia is telling the Void they might not capture victory. That's the only thing I can... MNC, if it means something, PM me and let me know. If not, we just gotta assume it means nothing. Once again, we are seeing Sona and Vayne in the bot lane for Demacia. They've been sticking to that every single game. But this time, Evil Shadow, he has been on Demacia for all 3 games, but in the first 2, he has been playing mid lane Kayle. This time, it looks like he is going to the bot lane as ADC, trying to get that hyper carry. He is, a diamond high tier, so they're trying to put one of their, top players on their hyper carry, on their ADC. Heavy is hovering over Jax because he really, really likes Jax. Jax is not actually on the Void's roster. He's just hovering over him. But so I'm waiting to see what Demacia does from here. I really think they should try a different comp than what they've done with these weird protect AC comps where the AC never actually gets ahead. They could still do it. They're swapping to, the high tier on the ADC, which is a decent idea if they're still going with the, protect the carry comp. Heavy trying to argue for Jax being on the Void comp, saying, yeah, he's got the purple, and the Void's very, very purple. So yeah. Okay, so they're locking in Nasus top lane. They do have Nasus on their intermission. So yeah, the top lane, they get a very, very strong late game between Vayne and Nasus. Very, very strong. I do like that they're taking Jarvan jungle along with that, because the problem with going a very late game oriented team comp is it's very easy to fall behind early game. Getting an early game jungle that can do a lot early, Jarvan is really strong in the early game. You do a lot of ganking, try to help those lanes out. That's really good to have, because if one of those late game hybrid carries is struggling really hard early on, he can just put a lot of early pressure and help them out. Alright, and we do see that it looks like a Vel'Koz support once again. There was a different person on Vel'Koz last game, but they still use Vel'Koz support in the last games. So yeah, they're training some players out. They have, once again, Kha'Zix shown. We're not seeing any Rek'Sai today. They're just sticking to Kha'Zix in the jungle, which is interesting. I would think at least one of the games they would have tried Rek'Sai, but no, they just want to stick to him, stick to Kha'Zix. Umi hovering over Brand. They have yet. Yes, please be the Galio. I will be oh so happy. But yeah, you may have noticed Galio's portrait looked a little off there because I did change the rad folder. So instead of being the normal Galio portrait, it has the Gatekeeper Galio portrait. He's hovering over Poppy, which I believe, yeah, is on Demacia's intermission roster. She does have connections to Demacia. She's the ambassador from Banal City to Demacia. And he really likes Poppy. Thing is, she's just not a mid lane champion, really. I don't imagine that being a great mid lane choice. But yeah, he's just swapping around, hovering over certain people. Probably lock in at the last second. Top mid lane choices for Demacia are usually between Lux, Kale, and Galio. Let's see what Umi goes with. It looks like he's going Galio. Yes, it is. Yes. Probably doing it just because he knows I'm watching. And I absolutely love Galio. And very pleased to see him picked up. That does create a very good teamfight comp for Demacia. Whenever you get Galio on your team, it's a great teamfight comp, and that's what Demacia is known for. It's not these protect the AC comps we've been seeing today, but for just having this dog-piled teamfight, which they do get. You can have Sona alts, then Galio alts, then you can have Jarvan alts, and you're just locking up the whole team for an insane amount of time, while Vayne is going to be putting out a ton of DPS. Nasus, can get in there at the same time, act a lot like Vayne does, just put out a lot of DPS with those empowered Qs. So yeah, it would be a very, very strong teamfight coming out for Demacia, I believe, which I very much like. Is Galio sticking? No, okay. I was questioning some of those summer spells, especially the Smite on Galio, but yeah, he swaps it out. The more standard Flash Ignite Galio, just the standard mid lane. So yeah, top lane matchup will be, once again, as always, they're sending Cho'Gath top lane. Has cleansed, interesting enough, going up against Nasus. I mean, yeah, you got that Wither to cleanse off, but I mean, I don't think that's a huge deal for Cho'Gath. I mean, yeah, if you're maxing E, you gotta get those auto attacks. But, I mean, you can, especially if you're going AP Nasus, or not Nasus, Cho'Gath. If you're going AP Cho'Gath, which is what we've been seeing today, you can max Q and still do a ton of damage and not rely on auto attacks. So Wither has much less effect on the Cho'Gath in that sense. But yeah, so it is Cho'Gath versus Nasus. Two high tiers, one's a diamond, one's a plat. But I do think I'll give it to Nasus. I think Nasus will be able to, just survive early game and just farm. That's all he has to do. He doesn't really have to win lane in order to win. Which is a little odd to say, but yeah, he doesn't actually have to come out ahead with a lead or stuff like that. As long as he can just, survive laning phase and still get farm and stacks down, he wins lane in a sense. So I think Nasus should be able to win that early, that top lane because of that. Mid lane, Galio versus Malzahar. Well, if it was Orderly Anarchist on 80 Malzahar, I would say Malzahar, that would be a very interesting matchup because I'm very familiar with that matchup from Hextech. I played Galio a lot, and whenever I played it against Zon, they would always pick Orderly Anarchist to do AD Malz against me. Very crazy matchup, but I doubt this will be an AD Malz. It's probably going to be the AP Malz, and Galio should counter the crap out of that. It's an AP mage. Galio, thanks to his passive, can build a lot of magic resist and still do damage. Plus, it's all damage over time with Malzahar. And Galio's W counters damage over time so well. Every time he takes damage while his W is up, he heals himself. And so if it's damage over time, it's, each hit is actually pretty small. It just hits a lot. And so that means he's getting hit with very little damage each time, and every time it's proccing that heal. So he's going to be healing a lot and reducing a lot of the damage that Malzahar can put out. All right, and now let's see. That mid lane should go Galio's way if Deko cannot beat the Malzahar with Galio. I'll just be disappointed in his Galio skills. But yeah, the jungler matchup. You know, we got Jarvan versus Kha'Zix. Yeah, Kha'Zix. Well, I mean, we've yet to see a ton of impressive plays by Kha'Zix. We have seen some good plays, but not like really awfully impressive stuff. And like we were saying earlier, Kha'Zix is not in a great place in meta overall. At least that's how me and Umi both feel about him. He's not in a great place in this. And so yeah, I really feel like Jarvan will be the more effective jungler, both in terms of team fight, being a big tank and able to add more lockdown for the Demacian team with his ult and knockups and whatnot. And, you know, being able to just being a really good early pressure and ganker that Demacia needs with these two big hyperscalers that have a relatively weak early game in Nasus and Vayne. So yeah, I think, yeah, Jarvan's just the better jungle in this matchup. And then for the bottom lane, this is the first time we've seen Demacia put their diamond on the ADC, but I really just feel like this bot lane for Void is going to be stronger, even with the moving the diamonds into the AC spot. I really feel like the Void's still going to control that bot lane. But yeah, so overall, most of those matchups I was calling for were going in Demacia's favor. Let's see if they actually play out the way. Those are just predictions, obviously. Alright, lanes are lined up. Let me adjust the audio real quick. And just turn down the audio because otherwise it gets a little loud. Oh, black screen? No, it shouldn't be a black screen. I'm checking OBS. I can't really look at Twitch because if I open up the browser and start streaming Twitch, it's going to slow down the stream. So if it's still the black screen, someone PM me real quick, because Heavy Sky just PM'd me that the black screen was going on. I mean, I can check, it was just really mess with the stream. So if anyone's watching and there is a black screen, please PM me that if there is. But I did check OBS, and OBS is saying it's working fine. He may have been seeing black screen while I was transitioning from client to the game, which there is a black screen then for a few seconds. That's what I'm assuming has happened.
Who's ready for a mother humping tea party?
And as anyone listening probably notices, I have the Tiny Tina announcer pack, not the standard announcer pack that Riot gives you. Yeah, so so if you couldn't tell between the Galio Rad folder being changed and the Tiny Tina announcer pack, my client has been modified a bit. It has been customized. Yeah, but so yeah, junglers are starting on opposite sides, both starting at their Krugs. Jarvan not really needing a leash, Nasus going straight to lane so he can try to get farm. Vayne trading with the Kog'Maw, but Kog'Maw has more range with that W, so he's able to get damage on the way out. Good damage coming out from the Galio landing that Q. And I am realizing that I thought it was going to be Malzahar mid, but no, they swapped it to Cho'Gath, realizing how much Galio counters him. And Galio, he does counter, the Cho'Gath, with his basic abilities being all magic damage, but when level 6 comes, Cho'Gath has the ult, which is true damage, which Galio cannot counter with his magic resist. So that's a pretty smart lane swap, I feel, and it will make things much harder for the Galio in the laning phase. do see the Kazakhs coming out of the Demacia blue side jungle. I didn't see if he stole it, but I'm going to assume he stole blue buff. I can double check that just by looking at him real quick. Okay, no he didn't. But yeah, he... Oh, he was getting scuttled, that's it. I like saw him walking away from Demacia jungle, assume he stole stuff, but no, he was getting scuttle crap. That is what was going on. Sona is taking quite a bit of frost, as is Vayne. They're really not sustaining well to the poke of Vel'Koz and Kog'Maw. They just got really good poke. Sona has decent poke, but she's also very squishy, so it's very risky for her to do it. Especially when you don't have the AC able to, you know, back you up in that poke. Vayne is not a very pokey AC, and so that makes things difficult for her. Vayne really not able to trade well against Kog'Maw right now. CS lead isn't really there yet, but as that trading continues to goes in the Void favor, we will see a CS lead grow. Galio will miss the Q for the slow. Nice Q flash by Cho'Gath, and then a good flash by Jarvan. Backs up knowing he can't take any more tower shots, and Galio gets a really nicely timed Q to get the kill and the first blood. Really good start for Demacia being able to get the first blood on Galio, who can be just an absolutely huge team fight threat. And so, you know, really every lane is a good lane to get fed for Demacia right now. Obviously, Vayne and Nasus, if you get them going, they are going to go out of control. And Galio is just really good to get ahead because he can be a huge team fight threat, and you get him, you know, fed early on, he becomes an even bigger threat, even bigger than he normally would be. So yeah, we do see though bot lane, Sona dies, Vayne barely gets out alive. Kha'Zix almost dies as well, but you know Vayne wasn't going to risk, you know, most likely dying, as Kha'Zix or Kog'Maw has greater range than her and be able to kill her as she's just trying to get in range to get that auto attack off, and so she wouldn't be able to get much. She does stick around in lane, able to pick up a little bit of farm. Yeah, we do see Nasus is out farming the Malzahar here, which is obviously not good. If the Nasus is out farming you, there's a problem. Malzahar is pretty low on mana. Nasus did burn all of his pots. You know, he started with that flask. He's burnt everything. But with Malzahar being out of mana, he can't really abuse that fact very well. Malzahar does hit 6 first, but he is 10 CS behind, not... So yeah, that is some power advantage, but he's not really able to take much advantage of it without being out of mana. Nasus going in, has ult, Ignite on him. It's time to back off with that Ignite. So yeah, that he has to be able to get out of range. Ooh, Malzahar taking a tower shot, but Nasus, you know, would have to run into melee range when Malzahar would be able to kill him, so he can't really take him out himself. Jarvan coming up. And so yeah, should be able to get a quick kill there. There it is. No assist gold for Nasus, but I mean, he doesn't actually need kills to be scary. He has free time in lane with no opponent to get farm, which is exactly what Nasus wants. Okay, looking at the jungle, obviously, you know, Jarvan has gotten a kill and assist, you know, for those top and mid lane ganks. So he is a bit behind in the CS, but, you know, he's got a kill and assist on Kha'Zix, and, you know, it's not just a kill and assist on him, but it's also, you know, helping his lanes out. So Jarvan's having the stronger early pressure and just a better early game than Kha'Zix currently. Cho'Gath and Galio duking it out as they're fighting over these wards, going roughly even in the trade, and they both clear out the ward, but the pink ward is the more valuable ward, and so Demacia, or Galio, you know, comes out a bit ahead in that just because they got the pink ward versus a, you know, vision ward, or stealth ward, I should say. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Bottom lane continuing to go in the Void's favor. Big CS lead for Kog'Maw. Top lane, we do see Nasus just, you know, really out farming Malzahar. Malzahar trying to put harass down, but there's not really enough to deter Malzahar or Nasus. And you know, Nasus does have that Spectral's Cowl already, and you know, most likely going to be turning that into a Spirit Visage. Will be really good against Malzahar. He'll have a lot of trouble doing damage to Nasus. Then, Galio will be spotted by that pink ward and quickly get focused down. They just, all three members of the Void just start going straight for Galio, and you know, the Demacian bot lane can't catch up in time. Galio, in his attempt to try to help the bot lane out, will get himself killed. Jarvan will run into Cho'Gath, but he is at risk of being engaged on. So they're going to clear that pink ward out. He's not going to be able to get the vision ward, which will probably die off before he looks there again. So nice moves by the Void. And now they're going for an early dragon, which there was no vision by Demacia, so it'll be a free dragon. Well done by the Void there, realizing their opportunity for dragon. Nasus going in, Burning Ghost, Burning Alt, Burning Wither is suppressed with Maleficent Visions on the Null Void Zone, but still not enough to kill him. And here comes Jarvan and quickly bursts him down. Nasus will pick up an assist and get a bunch of free time in lane to farm up his Q. So, not much of a lead for either side. Demacia's only up a couple hundred gold, really not much there. There is the dragon for the Void, which I guess is the biggest difference. That's the only real difference between these two teams in terms of power, is going to be that dragon buff. So yeah, it's a... But, you know... So yeah, mid lane is, I want to say roughly even. Galio has that kill over Cho'Gath, but he's also behind about 10 CS. Roughly evening out, not perfectly, but roughly. Galio might be able to, you know, get some CS back though and take the lead with Cho'Gath being on base now. Yeah, so roughly even mid lane. Obviously this bot lane just going very poorly for Vayne and Sona. Vayne dying to the long-range poke of Kog'Maw, followed up by a Vel'Koz laser. They're just having terrible time in this bot lane. I mean, I don't know why Demacia is continuing to do this Vayne Sona bot lane, and it just hasn't been working out very well. They have other options, I mean, at the same time, Vayne is going to be the best late game, and Sona is the best for the teamfight comp. Meanwhile, Galio is going top. Will put the ult down, keeping Malzahar taunted. Ignite coming out, not even needed, as Nasus will be able to get the Q for the last hit, giving him 6 stacks in addition to the kill gold. Here comes Jarvan in the mid lane, forcing Cho'Gath off the tower. And here comes Kha'Zix, but it's after Jarvan already ulted on to the Cho'Gath and basically killed him. Kha'Zix just waiting in that bush too long. Galio comes in, runs into Kha'Zix, but everyone just backs off. Much better start for Demacia than the first 2 games. They don't really have a lead, you know, it's basically dead even with this gold. And the dragon is roughly going to put the Void in the early game lead. But, you know, the Void was having a much better time in the early game in the first 2 games than now, so this is a much better start for Demacia. Bodes well for them, especially when they have, you know, a very strong late game of the Nasus and Vayne, and especially how well Nasus is doing. A lot of CS, most CS in the game right now. Let me look at his stacks. Director Cam just swapped off him, so we'll look at Nasus' stacks next time we see him. Yeah, it looks like he's doing very well in the stack department. That's how well he's farming. Gotta try and clear out this pink ward. Will be able to get it without taking too much harass. Nasus going in onto the Malzahar, gets a good chunk of damage down, but he has to run away as here comes Shogoth. Burning Ghost, trying to juke him out using the bushes. Meanwhile, we do swap to bot lane, see some fighting, but they back off. Now Malzahar and Nasus fighting. Suppress comes out, and with the Cho'Gath ult, not quite killing Nasus, but getting very low. Malzahar finish him off and get the kill. Nasus will go down as a good times. That's a good thing. They need to really stop Nasus now before he gets any bigger. Galio will put some harass down while Jarvan kills the tower. Meanwhile, top lane, though, they will kill tower for the train tower for tower. Here comes the Vel'Koz ult, not enough to kill off Vayne. He is the support, so he doesn't have much, damage in his build. He does have, the passive damage, but no other damage really outside of that, so he's not really able to kill off the Vayne there. So, yeah, comparing some of the items now, we do see Raw of Ages on Malzahar, which is a scaling item, so it doesn't really give Malzahar that much right now to deal with Nasus. So it's not really a great item when you're trying to counter Nasus, and that's all about shutting him down early game. But the lane is over, but ending the lane against Nasus by killing his tower this round isn't always the best move, because what it does is it puts the minion wave deep into the Demacian side of the map, where Nasus can just slow push and get a ton of farm in the slow push. And of course Malzahar isn't there to try to stop any more CSing, so this really gives Nasus just a ton of time to get a lot of CS and get really stacked up and farmed up here. So, normally, you want to kill the tower quickly so you can get the gold, get the global pressure. But, yeah, Malzahar is not, he's killed that tower. It's too late now, and Nasus gets a ton of time to free farm. Alright, and let's see how things go here. With Galio coming in, they does get the ult off, but the Sonar ult is redundant and hits Kog'Maw while he's still taunted, so it doesn't really accomplish much. Jarvan, very low, will be able to pick up the kill on Kog'Maw, but he's basically trapped there, will fail the flash with the wall. Kog'Maw passive will kill him. Galio trying to fight this, making use of that bulwark on his W, but not able to sustain through all the damage. Then he's trying to kite this out, doing a decent job of it, but is really not going to be able to do it, just outnumbered. So OBS still looking good, double checking OBS. So yeah, the Void winning that bot lane fight pretty well. Demacia started off well in that fight, but they just misplayed it. Didn't do everything quite right. Void there's a counter gank and come out ahead. Nasus coming in to stop that dragon call. Really doing a nice job, just really powerful. Just completely forces the dragon fight, or the dragon attempt to end. Kills the Kha'Zix. And then puts some kill pressure onto some other low health players as well. Not able to kill them and will die. They will do a really good job. Give Jarvan time to rotate there and get the dragon. Now Demacia has the chance to pick up some kills like this Kog'Maw here. So yeah, nice sacrifice by the Nasus there to help out his team. Nice follow up by the rest of Demacia to make that sacrifice not in vain. Got the dragon, got some extra kills. Good play by Demacia there, came out ahead. That will even the dragons up. The Void is up in gold because of a 2-tower lead over Demacia. Okay, Sona likely gonna be killed here as Cho'Gath catches her out. gets the silence, gets the knockup, gets the ults for the stacks. We do see Nasus going very aggressive onto this Malzahar here, knowing that he just has all the power right now. Malzahar can't fight him. So just by scaring Malzahar off, even if he doesn't get the kill, it just means he has more free time in lane to farm up. Vel'Koz running away from this Vayne, mostly because he knows that he's in Demacia jungle, they could gank him like this. He has the power to kill Vayne, but he doesn't have the power to survive a gank coming in like that Jarvan there. We do see that Cho'Gath, is coming up top trying to gank Nasus, as is Kha'Zix. Nasus in a really tight spot. He's not going to have this alive. He's not going to be able to even put any damage down like he wanted to. It looked like he was just trying to see if he could take Malzahar with him. He can gain damage down as the suppress comes out. He just gets instantly killed. We're seeing a very magic, resistance heavy build by Galio, which is what you expect, especially against a team like the Void, that's doing a lot of magic damage. The only one who isn't doing all magic damage is going to be the Kha'Zix and Kog'Maw. And Kog'Maw actually has a bit, magic damage built into his kit, so even though Kog'Maw is the ADC and going to be doing mostly physical damage, you are blocking a little bit of damage from him with that magic resist. So yeah. Galio's just really strong against heavy AP comps like the Void is always going to be because of how limited the roster is. Unless Riot releases a ton of Void champions. And wow, the Sona just gets instantly deleted. Nothing that they can really do to stop that. The Sona's so low she would have just not gotten that close after the start. Once she got in range, there was really nothing they could do to save her. Other than burning some ults that probably wouldn't have saved her anyways. So yeah. We do see that Nasus is going for Trinity Force after finishing his Spirit Sage. So yeah, getting a little more damage on those Qs, helping last hit a little more. Just a little more threat when he's in the 2-hit because he's getting Q'd so often, getting all those Trinity Force procs off. We do see the Cho'Gath, once again, full AP, got the Muse Echo, going for Rabadons at this point. Vayne and Kog'Maw are about even in the kills and assist department, but there is a very significant CS lead on Kog'Maw that really makes the difference between those two in terms of power. And it shows itself in having completed his boots and a Trinity Force versus just the Blade of Ruin King on Vayne and nothing else. She makes use of the stealth there, makes use of the Condemn. Jarvan and Galio going in. Galio not able to get Kog'Maw in his ult, but they don't need that. Kog'Maw will die anyways. Just try and get the Malzahar. Cho'Gath comes in. Meanwhile, top lane, Nasus fighting 1v2. Will be able to get a single kill before dying. Vayne goes down to the Ignite of Malzahar. Galio fighting Cho'Gath. Stun missing from Sona. Not enough range. There's the slow landing from Galio, then the slow from Sona. Nice knockup. Will basically end the chase there. Yeah, so about 2.5k gold lead for the Void. But, that doesn't mean as much when you consider how much of a great late game comp Demacia has. Yeah, so we do see Jarvan is grabbing that Locka of the Iron Solari, which is good for a number of reasons. One is, gives, obviously him and his team some magic just to deal with the heavy magic damage team of the Void. The shield could be useful in trying to protect the Vayne, using the active shield, being able to get onto the squishy carry Vayne. And also, it gives magic damage to your team, not magic damage, magic resist. It's giving magic resist to your team. That means it's giving magic resist to Galio, and that means that Galio is getting ability power because of his passive turning magic resist into ability power. So yeah, that's a pretty good item. We are seeing a another dragon going down to the void, but this time there was no interference by Nasus and no steal by Jarvan. And able to make that happen. Jarvan backs off from that ward, trying to get onto this Cho'Gath, I think. But, no, he's not going to do that. He just backs off the ward. Now he's going for Kog'Maw. I'm not really sure what's going on there with Jarvan. But, yeah. Gallo will grab blue, which he really, really needs as a very mana-hungry mid laner. And now we do see Nasus in a 1v3. Wow! I really just thought that was just going to be Nasus dying, but he does get a lot of very quick burst on the Cho'Gath and kills him. And we're seeing basically almost, with only like one or two exceptions, every time they commit multiple people to fight Nasus, they'll kill him, but he'll also get the revenge kill. And so that's a very scary thing, is that Nasus is, even outnumbered, he's picking up kills and getting stronger every single time. Jarvan fighting Kog'Maw, and just doesn't give him a chance to do anything fancy via summer spells or anything like that. Knocks him up, and then also making sure Kog'Maw will die. Thing going on Kha'Zix, not able to kill him thanks to the leap and the CC coming out from Vel'Koz. But this is 4 members of Demacia on the tower. They should be able to easily kill it. Jarvan playing down the Demacian standard to give his team more attack speed, which lets them kill the tower a little bit quicker. They have to take a tower shot when the minions die out, but it's very easy for them to kill the tower. They're going to run into Malzahar. Jarvan and Nasus going to be able to probably kill him. The flash comes out. I'm surprised that Jarvan didn't just flag and drag onto him, knock him up, and Nasus can then probably burst him. But yeah, they will be able to kill Vayne there in a sneaky assassination attempt. They will get Malzahar, but now Jarvan's in a pretty scary situation. But it is a 1v2 for Kha'Zix, and he has to, he's going a bit back and forth. He will get the Jarvan, and wow, just Demacia not quite playing that very well. Nasus is very strong, so he's able to quickly grab that kill. But Demacia didn't play that as well as they could have. They came out in a 2-for-3 trade. Very close game. It's only 500 gold difference. Wow, nice job. Nice chase by the Kog'Maw. Really good job there, just not letting Nasus get away. Nasus, looked like he stopped, running away for a bit there. If he had just committed to, completely running back to base, and probably would have lived. And now we are seeing the Baron attempt by Void, but they just don't have the tankiness to survive the Baron right now. Cho'Gath, the only person building tanky, or he's not even building tanky, it's just from his ult that he gets tanky. Yeah, they just don't have any real means to tank that Baron damage. And they can't really do much. That Baron is unobtainable unless they have all 5 members swapping aggro around, which they didn't have. They only had 3 people there at the start of that Baron attempt. Demacia is pinging that Baron a lot. I think they thought that the Void was going for it, which they were. It's just they didn't realize the Void already backed off because they were completely incapable of actually taking the Baron. Demacia thinking about it, they're going to be getting some vision control down, cleaning out that pink ward, placing a few wards of their own. They're going to see the Vel'Koz quickly engage onto him. He's going to be going down to the ignite of the Galio. Kha'Zix running from Nasus. Nasus going pretty deep here. He'll probably get that Kha'Zix kill, but he might die as well for it. Oh, here comes Demacia to back him up. This should be a very clean team fight for Demacia. Just the positioning there and having more people in the fight. Yeah. And now they're pinging Baron. They shoved the wave in, but they're backing off. They want that Baron, it looks like. Just a couple people not committing to it instantly, so they're going to be a little slow to get there. But it shouldn't actually hurt them too bad. They should be able to kill the Baron relatively easily. yeah, complete vision control, really good vision control of that side of the jungle. So yeah, they, yeah, I mean, it's going down slowly, but they should be able to get it. Kog'Maw's there, but he can't do much. Jarvan's pretty low, they're not juggling the aggro pretty well, and wow, yeah, they let Kog'Maw pick off the Vayne. Vayne goes after the Galio. They're just not handling this well. What is going on with this Demacian team? They get Baron, but it costs them 4 members when it's just Kog'Maw there fighting them. So they only get Baron on Nasus. Oh man, that was just really poorly handled by Demacia. And they should have just, you know, had everyone just focus the Kog'Maw and then go back to Baron. I mean, they were fighting him kind of one at a time, and that made it really easy for Kog'Maw to kill all of them. Only Baron is on Nasus, and you know the Void got 4 kills. That's basically a win for the Void, even though Demacia walked away with the Baron buff and killed Kog'Maw. Yeah, so it's pretty clear there that, you know, Galio's magic resist heavy build left him very unprepared to handle that Kog'Maw. Yes, there is some, you know, magic damage in Kog'Maw's build I was talking about earlier, but still he's primarily physical damage, and having no armor hurt him. He's now looking for that Zonias, which will definitely help in terms of dealing with the armor, or the physical damage of Kog'Maw giving him armor. He will be able to kill off Cho'Gath, but not before, you know, Kha'Zix is able to take down the dragon. They're trying to make stuff happen, but they're forced to back off here. They do have Nasus teleport up, so they can try some split pushing deal right now if they wanted to. They also have, you know, a dead member of the Void, so they can try to take advantage and force something. They don't really have the main waves to force a tower, and Baron and Dragon are dead, obviously, so it would be very hard to force a tower fight, or force a tower down, or a fight under the tower, or something like that, without any main way to help them. And wow, they quickly delete Vayne. Vayne just got a little too far forward. You got to stay in the backline there. She thought she was safe because the Void was, you know, mostly retreating, but turns out she wasn't. The suppress coming out from Malzahar, the ults coming out from Vel'Koz. And we're seeing Nasus once again. This really was an avoidable situation for Nasus. He just really overpushed when he should have known that the Void was there. Demacia was just fighting them in that side of the jungle, and had to back out. So he should have known. There was like 3 or 4 people coming for him, but he just continued pushing and ended up getting killed for it. He could have backed off. Oh, this is interesting though. We are seeing 2 Lock of the Iron Solaris come out for Demacia. Nasus building one. I think that's just miscommunication because you really don't need 2. And yeah, getting a second one really isn't worth it. He would have been better off getting some other magic resist item, I feel, like a Banshee's Veil. And we are seeing Malzahar put a lot of damage on this Sona. She's barely, not even able to get away with Cho'Gath putting the Q damage on her. Meanwhile, Nasus going after the tower. He has Elixir for more tower damage. I'm going to do a quick check. He will get the tower. Let's see how many stacks he has. 555. He is very, very huge for 31 minutes in the game. So yeah, he is scary to deal with. So yeah, they lose Sona, but they get a tower for it. So it's a winning trade for Demacia. Void. Yeah, there's, but the Void has to worry about that Nasus split push. Demacia needs to use the split push a little bit smarter, just because we have seen Nasus get caught out unnecessarily while trying to split push, just over committing to the split push when he needs to back off. That's sometimes. But Nasus is basically all by himself. Malzahar not even fighting him, just trying to clear the wave. He knows he can't fight Nasus, so he's just trying to put some damage and clear the wave so that Nasus can't pressure towers. Not a bad way to try to stall the Nasus split push out. So we're seeing the skull being taken by the Void, but nothing really happening. The Void could potentially engage on Demacia here. There's no teleport from Nasus, so it would be a 5v4 without one of their most fed people, the Nasus, in the fight. It'll be a very good fight, I think, for the Void to try to force this, which they're going to do. They get the quick kill on Sona. You know, she's just so squishy, very hard for her to live through, I think. Nasus not there. This is a 2v5 as Vayne is forced away from the team. And yeah, basically they're going to be able to get the inhibitor for nothing. Although there is the chance of Nasus taking the inhibitor. They don't lose anything in the fight, but Nasus might be able to take that inhibitor. He's already taken the tower, so they roughly go even in trading with Nasus. Jarvan's delaying some of the recalls. Yeah, the inhibitor goes down. Jarvan going in. We're not able to kill off Kog'Maw, but he will be able to get Vel'Koz. Going after Kha'Zix, he goes down. Nice play by Demacia, making the best out of a bad situation. I mean, best situation is they could have fought the Void and won, but they weren't able to do that, and now they're making a win out of it in a very, you know, if you extend the trade to a very long period of time, they overall win that trade with the kills they get and trading, you know, the tower and inhibitor evenly. They have a 2v4. Demacia, push something, force something right now. I mean, obviously the minions are hard. It's hard to do that when there's minions, but they need to just quickly be shoving waves in right now. They may not be able to pressure towers, but they can still shove the waves in right now when the Void can't really fight them when they're so outnumbered. We do see Cho'Gath pushing that bomb lane, but that's only really going to delay the Supermans, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not, you know, going to be continuing to push their way as the Supermans continue to come out of the Demacian base and go towards the Void. Now, this game's been very close, but we are seeing the Demacia take the lead while the Void was leading earlier. Demacia has the lead, and they got the stronger late game. So Demacia not quite in control of the game, but they're looking like they're the ones in a better spot right now. The Void needs to, well, obviously, you know, find ways to deal with the Nasus, and really just in team fights, I feel like you know, be somewhat aggressive in the team fights to try and catch Demacia out of position. Because if you go in for its full team fight 5v5 with this Demacian team, you know, Sona and Galio and Jarvan are going to lock everybody up and they're able to kill you. Well, if you can be aggressive, catch Demacia on the back foot, you should be able to pick a couple key people off before the fight and come out ahead because of it. We do see Sona needlessly during Flash there. She was like afraid of being hit by that Cho'Gath Q, but as you can see, that Q was nowhere near her. Sona burning ult only hits the Cho'Gath, and then no one able to follow up on it. Jarvan going in, backing out. Galio not able to get in there. The Void is a bit split up. If Demacia were to quickly group up and engage on them, they'd be able to quickly win this fight, but they're not quite doing that effectively. They're not grouping up, they're kind of splitting, actually, making things worse for them. Galio taking a lot of damage. Yep, just Demacia had an opportunity, but executed on it rather poorly. They are doing something when they're delaying the Void backing and getting Superman's time to fight the Nexus Towers. But really what I said is Demacia needed to group and engage together. What they did is they split and tried to engage from two sides. That really just backfired on them. The Void will get the Dragon, but it will cost them a couple kills. Demacia does have more people on the map, but Vayne is not with the team. Vayne needs to be with the team if they're going to be able to do anything here. And they do not have her. Nasus is backing as well. I mean, they do have something to worry about with the, you know, the inhibitor down. They do have some Supermans to worry about. So, but they could have tried to force something. It looked like a couple of them wanted to, but ultimately realized they weren't going to be able to do much. They already got that inhibitor, and they most likely wouldn't be able to get far with the Nexus Towers. And so, yeah, they just had to back off. It's taking a little bit for everyone to get on board with backing off. Some people wanted to go in. Baron, no wards from Demacia. This will be an uncontested and free Baron for the Void. And yeah, so the Void looking like they got a bit more control of the game right now. We've yet to see Demacia really execute their team fight well. I mean, do you ever see Demacia really fully pull out their full dogpile team fight if they execute it all the way? It is really hard for people to deal with. Like the Void would have trouble dealing with it. But we're just not seeing Demacia completely pull it out. Like I already said, Demacia had the chance there in that fight over by Dragon. The Void was kind of spread out, and if they grouped up and engaged, making use of all those combos and lockdown they had, they could have won. But instead of grouping up and engaging, they split up, and the Void just grouped up and focused down on a couple people. Yeah, Demacia needs to group, which they are doing. Nasus has teleport, so he can still be there in the fight. They just gotta make sure to have someone who can teleport too. And Demacia can do some engages if they just group up properly, get the front line, mid line, back line set up and everything. Nasus is going to force the Void over towards top lane, but he's over committing to it, and now he's going to likely not be able to get away. Demacia needs to take advantage from the people and quickly try to force that tower down and kill those two players of the Void. No, they can't do that. They don't quite execute the split push properly, and it works against them. Nasus goes down. So yeah, the Void obviously is trying to get that mid inhibitor. Sona and Galio not going to be able to get there in time to do much about it. Yeah, so that tower or inhibitor should be going down. Jarvan trying to do a bit there, but basically he's forced to just flash out as soon as he goes in, otherwise he'll die. Vayne tumbling and flashing out there, getting away from the damage of the Void. Yeah, their inhibitor is down. Pressure going on to the Nexus towers. Galio ult is up, he can trap them under tower. That's what he needs to do. That was a good job. And they will be able to do some nice damage, but not enough. They just don't have the members or enough people to completely force them off. That was not a bad attempt. It was just they didn't have the numbers they needed to properly execute it to get all the kills. But of course, obviously, his forcing off. It was just so it worked. It just didn't work as good as it possibly could have. But works out. They defend the tower, scaring the Void off. They need to quickly get that inhibitor off of the Void. They have an exposed inhibitor they can take. They can also try to go top lane where they have the wave to potentially force the tower down. They just need to do something like right now. There's no Baron or Dragon, so really their best bet is going for that bottom hitter. Nasus seems to know that. He's going for it. Vayne's a bit behind him. They should be able to take it without much problem. Vel'Koz is pretty low on mana, not much of a threat at the moment. Nasus is going to be huge and just take out that tower. Vayne able to avoid a lot of damage from Cho'Gath. They're finding him. Cho'Gath will ult Nasus, but not be able to kill him. Nasus will get the kill. Vayne, so yeah, they were able to get a nice kill there. They need to back off as members of the Void are now respawning. Going to have home guards and chase him down. Looks like they'll be able to get away safely. So yeah. Dragon will be up in 40 seconds. Both teams have supermins to worry about when that fight breaks out. If it breaks out, one team may just out-rotate the other. We'll see. But yeah, so if a fight breaks out, both teams have to worry about supermins. But Demacia is much better off in this case. One, because their inhibitor died sooner, so it's going to respawn sooner. And, they've got their wave pushed out farther. Their wave's right at the base of the Void. The wave pushing against them, that Superman is, in the middle of mid lane. Cho'Gath being forced to clear those minions, so they have the man advantage in this fight. Since Nasus can teleport in there, you're going to be able to relatively safely take this dragon. Sona will come out, but no follow-up. Wow, Sona taken very low, will be killed. Galio in a bad spot, will barely survive. Steal of the dragon by the Vel'Koz, just really good execution of the Void and putting stuff over the wall and getting kills and steals. When Demacia, though, is being sneaky about this. They're getting the backdoor to happen with the Nasus. He's already got Nexus Towers. He's on the Nexus itself. Just Kog'Maw there. Doesn't look like Nasus will be able to survive that, but he does get 2 Nexus Towers out of that. That is pretty big. And Demacia wins the fight. Because, well, it's arguable if they win the fight because it goes 3 for 3. But they come out ahead in that Baron fight with the Jarvan living and no one on the Void living that was still at the dragon. Because they had to recall multiple people to deal with Nasus. So yeah, that is Demacia kills went even. Demacia lost the dragon, but they got 2 Nexus Towers. That goes well for Demacia. They win that. But they have to be careful now. That was the 5th dragon for Void. Void just had much more dragon control. And 5th dragon is something very scary, something you gotta be worried about. You are seeing that obviously Kog'Maw is getting pretty big in the late game. Vayne did complete her build. Kog'Maw hasn't. Vayne has a defensive item up on Kog'Maw via the Banshee's Veil. But Kog'Maw might just have a. It looks like they're going to be roughly equal in damage. Kog'Maw doesn't have that defensive item. So he has more range. Let's see how this Baron goes. Jarvan going to flag and drag in. Will not be able to get the Baron steal. Not really able to get out. Will die. Valiant attempts, but ultimately in vain, and without their 5th member to help them, and they're up against double buffs of the Dragon and Baron. Demacia's in a pretty tight situation. What they're really going to have to do, give up that inhibitor, fight them at the 2 Nexus Towers, and really rely on the Galio and Sona to just keep them locked up under towers. And Sona dies before she can even do that. They lost a big team fight ult. It's only the Galio now for lockup, and so this is looking harder and harder for Demacia to hold on to this. This could be the end of the game right here. Let's see how things go. Kog'Maw making use of a huge range, able to take on 1 Nexus Tower. Vayne very low. It is surviving somewhat. Galio will go down. Vayne dies eventually. Nasus only one alive. Kog'Maw's dead. But Nasus cannot defend 1v4 as much as he might like to. And there's just no one going to be alive for so long for Demacia. This is likely game here. Void will end the day 2-1. Well done, Void. Well done. All right. Yeah, so that game, I think the biggest thing was we never saw Demacia take advantage of the core strengths of their team comp that they had. We never saw the split push go off quite the way they want to. They did get some stuff out of it, but there were also a number of times where the split push just wasn't executed quite well. So it was mixed results for that split push. We obviously saw a nice backdoor of the Nexus Towers, and we saw other times where Nasus just got killed without really accomplishing much. So there were mixed results with that split push. But there are other things that they didn't quite take advantage of either. One big one was they just never got the combos and the great dogpile team fights that Demacia is known for, and this comp was so great to do. I mean, like I was saying in the Champ Select, if Demacia, if they were able to execute team fights perfectly, they'd be able to lock up the entire enemy team for years. Sona ult, And then right, as that is about to end, Gallo would be moving into position and pop his ult. And then Jarvan can come in and ult people, and everyone would just be stuck there for so long. They'd be able to kill everybody with just Vayne and the damage from Galio and Jarvan and Nasus. He could teleport in while all that's going on, get a lot of DPS in addition to the Vayne. They would, and we never saw them set up for that. They never really set up to do the team fights that way. They have to prep it, get some vision down, and just be in formation. I think that was the biggest thing. We just never saw them in formation, the formation they needed to get those off, and made things hard for them to be able to do that. I mean, they also didn't have to do it in that order. I'm realizing now that relying on Sona to be the first ult would be dangerous with how squishy she was. But that wasn't the only way they could have done it. Like, they could have Jarvan go in. He's tanky, and he has a long range to get that he can engage via flag and drag into the ult for a long range engage to be able to lock people up. And then Galio can flash after him, get his ult off. And then Sona can flash at the end of that. So she actually wouldn't be in a huge risk as a squishy. She could be one of the last people and still do the same amount of CC for the big team fight combos, which we never saw happen. I think that was the biggest thing. They just never really took advantage of that core strength for Demacia. For the Void, I think they were slightly ahead at the end of the early game, and then mid to late game they were starting to fall behind, but never really fall that far behind. Really what the big thing for the Void was they just took advantage several times just how much more range they had. They were able to, that last dragon fight, they killed off Sona, stole the dragon without anyone even being on the right side of the dragon pit. They were all on the back side of it, just throwing stuff over the wall, stole the dragon, killed people, took advantage of a lot of the range they had, and made really good use of the Kog'Maw scaling. Vayne, obviously scaled as well, but it just felt like even though they both are big hyper carry late game scalers, it just felt that late game Kog'Maw was just much more impactful. Cho'Gath was huge, obviously. Malzahar, he didn't have a great game in lane, but he did come back a bit, help out. But yeah, it just felt like the Void, I think, really it came down to executions. They just executed stuff better later in the game. They were, just better execution, maybe in how coordinated they were versus Demacia and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what the Void did well. They executed a lot of stuff better than the Demacia did. Yeah, so some nice plays. I already mentioned some nice plays by the Void, but we did see some good plays by Demacia with the backdoor attempt. We saw a number of good suppresses by Malzahar. We saw some nice kiting by Vayne in a few situations. And Jarvan was a pretty big impact in the early game. I really liked the Jarvan early game in the jungle combined with the late game of the Vayne and Nasus. I thought that was a really good combo, and we did see Jarvan take full advantage of that. Galio shines in team fights, and we didn't see Demacia really execute their team fight very well, so we didn't really get to see the big, amazing Galio team fight ults and stuff like that, so he didn't really get the time to show, the Galio didn't get time to really shine because of that. So yeah, close game. Games 1 and 3 were both very, very close. The Void will come out ahead in 2-1. And so Demacia's attempt to smite the Void doesn't really pay off. But yeah, so that should wrap up today's games. Well done, Void, coming out with the 2-0 victory. And yeah, so I'll see you guys tomorrow, which will be Ionia versus the Freljord. Bye.